Welcome back, everyone. I'm excited to be here with Dolly Parton, music icon, cultural icon, 10-time Grammy Award winner, philanthropist, founder of the Imagination Library, which has donated nearly 140 million books to kids. Dolly also recently gave $1 million to Vanderbilt University Medical Center to help in the search for a treatment to COVID-19. Dolly, thanks for being with us.
Well, I'm happy to be with you. Now, I'm out on my patio, so if you hear birds and cars driving by, just let it pass and it won't interfere, but I'm happy to be with you today.
You know, we've been writing about you, Dolly, for decades, and I went through some of our past coverage, and I was drawn to a line you gave to a Time correspondent who went on tour with you in 1977. You said, "When I'm on my rocker, I want to have tried everything." Well, you're a long way from the rocker, but I am told this is your first Zoom call. Is that true?
Well, yeah, this is kind of new to me, all this social media and all that. I'm still an old timer. I always make jokes that I've still got my carrier pigeons, around. But actually, I always used to say I'd rather sit in my rocking chair regretting a few things that I had done rather than sit in my rocking chair regretting that I didn't do all the things I wanted to try. So now here I am at this age, and I've got a rocking chair, but I usually just sit by the fire and write songs and get up and get in my wheelchair and go do something about it. Actually, I've been blessed, and I just love still working, and I love what I do.
Well, you're certainly not an old timer. You've done the Dolly Parton Challenge this year, the Netflix series, the podcast. You're really having a cultural moment. To start, why don't you tell us about the Dolly Parton Challenge and how that came about?
Well, actually, we try to always come up with something, for the times and to try to encourage people and, with whatever we're doing. And it's true that I'm an old timer, but I always say that I'm as old as yesterday, but I'm as new as tomorrow. So I try to stay up with the times. And then when we get a chance to do things like the challenge, it kind of involve everybody because I want to always stay important. I always want to be active, and I feel like I've got a lot to give, even though I've spent my whole life in this business. I really feel like I'm just starting my career every day because I wake up with new dreams every day. So we just try to do all we can to get everybody excited also and to contribute to whatever they can to make life a little better for everybody.
I want to talk about this crisis we're all living through. You grew up poor, one of 12 kids in East Tennessee. Part of what's so devastating about this crisis is how hard it's hitting families that were already at or below the poverty line. Our home state of Tennessee, we share it, has been hit particularly hard. How are you thinking about what we can all do to help families and communities get through this?
Well, I just think that everybody should search their own hearts, search around and look around what's going on in your neighborhood with the families. And I think we should all just do everything that we can to help. And I really admire and appreciate all the wonderful things that I watch on the news every day of what all the, the good things that people are doing just to help. And just the fact that I think this whole thing, as awful as it is, has really brought people together. I know that I'm in a position to help, and that's why I try to do it in every way that I can.
I wanted to ask you about the donation you made to Vanderbilt Medical Center. You've got a long relationship there.
Well, I do have a lot of friends there, and I've made donations before in different departments. My little niece, Hannah Dennison, many years ago had leukemia, and she survived it because of the great care that they gave her. And so I had actually donated some money to the cancer center and at different times. And so I just thought when this came up, I just thought that it was the thing to do. I always just follow my heart. I just always have a little voice in my ear that says, do this, do that, and when. So when this all came about, I thought that would be a wonderful thing. I know they have a lot of great scientists there. And my friend, Dr. Najia Boomrod, has been my friend for years, and he had told me, he's in research there. He used to be years ago, really heavy duty into that, and was the head of a department there. And so he told me that they were doing some great strides and coming up with something. And I just felt led to just make a donation to try to further that along. And I think they are making a lot of advanced, thing in a cure for it. or at least to bridge the gap there until they do find a vaccination and a cure.
It's an extraordinary global effort, the search for vaccine, the search for treatments, unprecedented. You also recently started a YouTube series, Good Night with Dolly, reading bedtime stories to kids. I noted that the first was Little Engine That Could, and that your YouTube reading of it had more than 700,000 streams. I think I've read that book to my kids more than 700,000 times. Wonderful. How did that come about, and how's that going? How are you choosing the books? What's that experience been for you, and what are you hearing back about it?
Well, everybody's really enjoying that. For those that are watching that don't know, my Imagination Library is where we give books to children from the time they're born, once a month, until they start school. And so the Imagination Library, I'm very proud of, and we've given, as you mentioned, I think earlier, that we've given away 140 million books or so, somewhere in that area. But then when all this stuff started and everybody started having to be confined in their homes, kids couldn't go to school, and parents were kind of having to babysit and be teachers and do everything. We came up with the idea, David Dodson, who is the head of our, kind of runs the foundation. He doesn't kind of, he does. Anyway, we came up with the idea that I should read to the children. And that's just was something else I wanted to do to try to help lift people up and throw a little fun in there and just something for the kids at night. And maybe the parents could enjoy it too. And I've had a lot of comments on the fact that the parents enjoy it about as much as the kids do when they're trying to get the kids down.
Well, we can all use as parents, a little extra help. And I was interested even in how you're choosing the stories. Are there lessons in the stories?
Well, actually, through our Imagination Library, there's a whole group of people that really decide on what's, age appropriate and the stories. But The Little Engine That Could, of course, is the first book that's in the Imagination Library. And I loved that book when I was a kid. I think that really kind of helped me in my own life to say, I thought I could, I think I can, and I'm a little engine that did, as I mentioned when I was doing the reading. But we choose the books based on the stories, whether it's about bullying or whether it's about fear, and whether it's about just sharing and caring. And so we really try to pick subjects, and certainly in this series that we did here, to where it would really speak to children about all the things that they need to learn and need to know in a fun way.
Yeah, explaining what's happening right now to particularly young kids is incredibly challenging.
I don't have children of my own, but I grew up, as you mentioned, in a large family, and I kind of practically raised, several of my own brothers and sisters, and now they have children. They're like my grandchildren. So I'm always like reading to them and all, but I really see how this has affected them. And it's really tricky trying to explain to them when we don't even understand it ourselves. We've learned a lot about ourselves and about other people and how they're dealing with this. And hopefully we're going to be better people, when we get through all this.
Is there a song or an album that you turn to in difficult times? What have you been listening to lately?
Well, I usually don't listen to music as much as I try to write some. I try to create things that I think people would like to be able to express, because I've always been grateful that I'm a writer. And so I not only, it's my therapy to be able to write songs, but I see and hear what other people are going through and what they feel. So I really try to write what I think everybody is going through right now. And I'm a very spiritual person, so I pray every day that God will lead me into what to say and what to do. And I've really come up with some wonderful things lately that I really feel like that people will need to hear.
Well, we're going to hear one of those shortly on TIME100 Talks. You've composed more than, I think, 3,000 songs, which not everybody realizes about you. An incredible number of songs. And I recently learned that you wrote "I Will Always Love You" and "Jolene" in one 24-hour period. Is that?
It must have been, yeah, because we found a tape. I didn't realize that either, because but they both came out like within a couple of years. But we were going through my vaults and through my old boxes and of tapes, and we found a cassette that both those songs were back to back on the cassette. And so evidently, I don't remember, because at the time you write, you don't know what's going to be a hit and what's not going to be a hit. But we were just shocked, that both those songs were written whether it could have been a day after, whatever, or it could have been the same night, but they were back to back on the tape. So whenever I had been writing, I wrote them in that same period of time. And I myself was really surprised, although I know they both came out in the early 70s. So stands to reason that.
Pretty creative 24 hours.
I know, that was a really good night. I had this little house where I lived, and I remember writing both songs, but I don't remember. I remember sitting by the fireplace, but I did not realize till then. And we all went, wow, those both same time. I thought, well, thank you, Lord. That was a good night for me.
It was a good night.
Yeah.
You've become an icon for so many women and girls, particularly all over the world. And yet you don't think of yourself as a feminist.
Well, that's really kind of a tricky question. I suppose I am a feminist if I believe that, women should be able to do anything they want to. And when I say a feminist, I just mean I don't have to, for myself, get out and carry signs or I just really feel like I can live, my femininity and actually show that you can be a woman and you can still do whatever you want to do. But I'm not ashamed of that title. It's just that there's a group of people that kind of fit into that category more than me. I just always say, I don't really go for titles or this or that. I just live my life and hope I'm a good example, and I try to live it and write it and sing it and do all that. But I'm all for all our gals. I think everybody has a right to be who they are. I don't care if it's men, women, girls, boys, gay, straights, black, blue, alien, gray. I think everybody has a right to live, be productive, and be who they are.
Well, it is amazing. The New York Times last year in a story about you said that you're the one thing everybody in America can agree on. The one thing everybody can agree on is Dolly Parton. You do have a remarkably diverse fan base. It's rural and urban, it's young, it's old, it's religious, it's non-religious. When you look around and you see how divided our politics are and so much of our society is, and even the divisions, the inequities of the way this crisis is affecting different groups, are there lessons in your story and the way you've conducted yourself we can take from that and bringing people together?
Well, for myself, I grew up in a very big family, so I know every type of personality. I also grew up in a religious family. My grandpa was a preacher, so we tried to learn to be caring and let God be the judge. We're not the judge. And I just happen to love people. I have a very open heart. And when I write, just like the song we're going to play today, it's like it has that very line in the chorus where it says, when life is good again, I'll open up my heart and let the whole world in. And hopefully that's how other people feel. And, it's like, and just to let everybody love, let live, let love, whatever. So I just really have never been judgmental, and people kind of grew up with me. They know I come from a Cinderella story. And so I think people just know that my heart is good. I like to think it is, even if other things ain't, something you care about. But I know that I really care about people, and I want people to be happy.
Well, the message of that song, which we're going to hear soon, is that there will be life on the other side of this. We're going to get through this. And I wondered, just closing question, what are you looking forward to? I know you're at home like so many of us. What are you looking forward to on the other side of this?
Well, the song is going to sum it all up. That's exactly how I feel. And I want to get out with my friends. I want to go eat. I want to go down to the seashore. I want to be able to, just have fun and just get out and be free again, touch people, be with them, and, just say hello and just kind of let life be better now. But to get back to kind of, where we're living people. And we will get through it. We will. I mean, everything has to pass. There may be some harder days still, and it might not. You never know. I'm sure we'll probably have to go through some more things. But I try to just keep the faith. I try to let go and let God, as I say in my own heart, is to just kind of be aware, be smart, be safe, and just kind of hope for the best, pray for the best, and live your life the best way you can. And when life is good again, it's going to be better than it ever was. I know I'll be a better person. I can see a lot of things that I can do better than I did before. And I hope that everybody during this time, if God hadn't no other reason for this to happen but to just make us sit down and analyze ourselves and what's going on in the world and how selfish we've been and how blind we've been to so many things that really matter if we're to survive as, you know, as humanity, really, and just in our families. And I really, you know, there's a scripture that says a house divided cannot stand. That means a world divided also, whether it's your own household or just the whole world. I think we have to pull together a little better. It can't. And I just think we're just getting so scattered and so selfish with some things, and we're just letting too many good things go by. I know that I'm going to, like I say, I'm going to be better. I'm going to do better. And I try to do good as it is, but I'm going to do better and more good stuff.